what's behind. Got no way to prove it, so maybe I'm lying. I'm only human after all. I'm only human after all. Don't put your blame on me. Don't put your blame on me. Take a look in the mirror. What do you see? You see it clearer. All you can see. What you believe. 'Cause I'm only human after all. You're only human after all. Don't put your blame on me. Don't put your blame on me. Some people got the real problems. Some people out of love. Some people think I can solve them. Lord heaven above. I'm only human. 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 Don't ask my opinion, don't ask me to lie. Beg for forgiveness for making you cry. For making you cry. 'Cause I'm only human after all. I'm only human after all. Don't put your blame on me. Don't put your blame on me. Oh, some people got the real problems. Some people out of love. Some people think I can solve them. Lord heavens above. 'Cause I'm only human. 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 I'm only human.
What's up, everyone? Welcome. Let me find the list of requests here real quick. Let's get some bangers going here. Just heard that song. I don't need to hear that again. I like this song. Play this song. There's always intention behind all my songs. Gotta read between the lines. I try to pick relevant songs to start the night. I mean, future's looking. Let's see, still got my fractal here. It outplayed my fractal a little bit. Show you how I made this fractal to begin with. Let's start over here. So let's just looking at this. Now it's like, you know, when did we last have an inverse head and shoulders like this right here that just set us off? It's kind of like right here in my opinion. So use my bar repeater here. And I just took it from here to here, and then you can kind of mess with it a little bit to make it work. You can see it's pretty good in terms of lining up movement. So don't be surprised if we do have some corrections going on. Let me turn this song down a little bit. I think it's probably a little loud for people. Alright, how's that, my voice compared to the music? It's kind of the background now. Cryptoker. CLF I got going to... We'll chart CLF. It's on the list, so why don't we jump right into that, Zenon? What it do? What's up, Sam? Hopefully all of your fantasy worked out this weekend. Hopefully, hope you've been making money lately. Rapid Flow Gang been printing. It's freaking awesome to see. Alright. Zev. That's a ticker I haven't heard in a very long time. Let's go with CLF. So this was one that I wanted to chart. Actually had it charted here. So you can see this double topped here and went to 2650. Rejected. Finished as a doji. Don't be surprised if we have a little bit of profit taking tomorrow. Oops. But don't also be surprised if it just makes an inside day a couple days and then takes off. So what we're looking at here is probably a wave 4. If we were to go on the hourly here, it tells a little bit better story. So on the hourly, you can see we had a clear downtrend break, retest, bounce, just absolutely gorgeous off that just insane earnings. So who dis new number? Yes, you kind of interest me in some X. So here's what I'm seeing. I see an ABC down, so let's get our favorites up here to get this going. A, B, C down. Maybe it's an ABCD. Hold on. Let's figure this out. Maybe it's 5 waves down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There. So, yeah. So, basically, when I'm looking at these waves, I have this is a wave, this is a wave, this is a wave, this is a wave, and this is a wave. I don't know if that makes sense. So 1, oh yeah, and this is a wave. You have 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold on, that's not right. All right, so wave, 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 wave. So zigzag down. Now we're starting our bullish impulse, higher highs, higher lows. So now you're having a 1. This will probably do one of these and then do one of those. So if you want a price target on this, probably looking at this to ping pong between here and then go up like that. Copper we can add now to the list, that's no problem. So if you want a measured move, there's 2 ways to make a cluster on this. First is intrinsic, so we would just put that here. You know, you're measuring low to high. So if it were to copy this move, you know, that would put us in this area. And if we were to do a extrinsic measurement, we would measure low to high here, and that would put us up in the 30 to 35, 30, 50 mark. And so you have an intrinsic move, and so then your cluster is going to be somewhere in here. And that's how you kind of get your target zone for these projections off of here. And you're probably going to want to have a stop loss down in here. Let's color these up, make them look pretty. So blue projection, red support. This is actually a support line down here now. It's an old one that I had charted. And get rid of, clean this chart up. So Zenon, to answer your question on CLF, let's go back and see if we have any historic. Oh, there we go. Okay, so yeah, we have some historic here. price targets as well. So let's use green to differentiate these. You have a historic gap that was never filled. Interesting. So you're gonna have a few resistance points here. Even though it doesn't look like you do over here, you do have historic resistance points here. So these green ones are historic, the blue ones are measured moves, and so these are going to be somewhere. So if we can break over this high of 2650, you should see a nice pop to 28, and then it's going to kind of chop up through these zones. And then once it gets over 31, that's where you're going to see that mammoth explosive move. And you could see the wave 5. I mean, this wave 3 could potentially go all the way into this gap. We don't know if the wave 4 is going to be here or not. You can kind of measure it by the way the wave 1 is and see. So you can see basically the wave 3 is a 1272 projection. But it's possible, you can see here, it's possible that the wave 3 could be a 2618 projection, which would put us right at our extrinsic projection right here, which would make sense. It's even possible it goes to 27. We won't really know until we start getting some of those red candles in that chop and that sideways action, but as long as you have time, November 19th, December's, January's, this thing's gonna go. There's no reason for steel to go down. And there's only reason for it to go up. And the infrastructure bill is supposed to be voted on tomorrow. So I absolutely love steel right now. Probably tied for my #1 sector with uranium, and trailing slightly behind is natural gas. So if you like this chart, I'll tweet these charts out so you can have them. As we go through them. Alright, so I told you there was a couple that I was gonna get through. I have all the time in the world. That's fair enough. Air Drake's like, I got Friday expirations. Dude, why are you doing that to yourself? Oh, this song mix is going to be boring. Let's see here. What should we listen to? Ooh, what's this? Nope, that's not gonna work. Dude, I'm gonna get so many DMCA requests after tonight. Ooh, I haven't heard this song in forever. Alright, so I was talking. Alright, so I was going to do this. We're going to do CVS, because these are my two big ones right now. So, I have this charted. Let's start over. If you haven't seen the daily chart on CVS, it... oh man, like, you see this move right here? That's what we're gearing up for right now. Like, this thing's going to go rip all the way probably to at least 98. You know, 96, 98 in this range, and if it gets through that, you could put it at 100. So, I mean, there's not much resistance. There's a little bit around 90. That's the big one. So you can see this is from back here. That's our big resistance. And our all-time high is right here at 113.65, I believe it is. So that's going to be what we're going to try to get to. But this thing is wonderful. You're probably going to see some sort of action up to the 100 and then chop and then eventually go. But I'm just charting the big moves and then we can go into the micro moves, because we're going to want these big moves going into the end of the year because it's going to test them. What's up, Julian? This song's a little loud. Just need like a banger. I'm just gonna play this mix. I like this mix. CVS though. This has been my #1 ticker since January, when it was at 52, or when it was at January. I think I wrote about this December 17th when it was at 67. I said it was my #1 for the year, 5% dividend, gonna return more than that with shares, and it has done its part. And it has earnings next week, and they're gonna beat, and it's gonna go up probably 5% off of those. So, cash, thanks man. You don't need to tip me. I should turn that off. I'll give it to my staff. They can have the $2. Sam, you can have it. I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you, Sam. All right, so we got some supports here we got to draw. So we got a nice support here, right around 87.80. It tested it. It bounced. It actually came down and bounced off of this 86 support today. So it retested this today. So I got into CVS 2 weeks ago when it was at 83, when I saw this bounce right here off support. But I also got into it again today. So I got in today when I saw it break this previous day's high at 88, and I bought 100 January calls. So the 100 calls for January. So all the way out here. If we do get that big pop like we did over here, you know, that 75 to 90 run, that's a $15 pop. They were 60 cents today. I'm looking at a return of possibly 1,000%er. Like, this is a 1,000% possibility. So let's dive into the itty gritty now. Yeah, CVS reports next week, so it is a little dangerous getting in now. If you want to wait till after, that's fine, but I'm pretty confident in this. I've been following CVS for years. Their reports are usually in line with UNH's, and UNH's were gorgeous. But you do have to be careful of this rising wedge. So you do have this rising wedge right into earnings. So you're probably going to see, you know, this retest here, maybe bounce here, and then maybe go down, maybe a sell-off into earnings, and that's when it moons right off of earnings. Oops. So you can see maybe this moons off of earnings. Ah. Yeah, I can see something like that. Some profit taking into earnings after this huge run. This is a big run. Let's not mistake it. So if it does blow off the top, it's gonna go full vertical, and that would be ideal, but it is a little late to get in. But like I said, did get in today, so let's look at some more. I will tweet this out. Oh, I should probably include the chart. There we go. Alright, let's look at Roku, and then we'll get into some requests after that. I actually have Roku somewhat charted, but let's start over. I have it pretty good charted. I don't want to mess with it. So I do have my count counted out here. It does have earnings coming up. When does it have earnings? November 3rd, so next week. Let's not do that, Randy. I told you about that, Randy. You should be in it. Alright, so I have all my levels leveled out already. This thing's pretty tasty. Can get a few more going in here. You can see I had these red ones were supports, so I had these all the way from back there. Oops. So, cool thing about Roku today is it broke the downtrend, retested it, had a nice close on the hourly there. Also, we have a full ABC down. So we have higher highs, higher lows, continuing higher lows. We do need a nice pop into earnings here. So I'd be curious to see if we get a wave 3. You know, this could be one of those earnings that is crazy. And that could be your wave 3 earnings into a power earnings gap wave 4. And that would look something like this. So that would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not sure if Roku's going to retest 500 for quite a while, but I think a run to 400 is potentially in order. So, oh, the backwards in time arrows, yeah. All right, let's get into some requests here. I'll chart this out. Alright, so I know you guys got requests. I did have some pre-requests, so I'm going to chart those real fast, and then we'll get into them. Feel free to put them in here, and I'll get back on it. So I do have Qualcomm kind of charted. So this does have earnings coming up as well on the next week. DWAC. You would cash. Only you. So the important thing for Qualcomm is to get through this. It's got this huge chop zone right here. So it's just this chop zone. And it's got to get over that, and it's got to get back above 137. And more importantly, it's got to get back above 134. I don't love... Well, actually, hold on. So this does kind of have a... Does kind of have a megaphone here. So that would put us at... So then, if this is true, what's it at after hours? It is up after hours, so but not by much. So this is true. That means we would be bullish tomorrow if these were the A, B, C through E. So then that would look like this. And it would come back, retest the megaphone, and chop into earnings. So cash, I did it in a week and a half. You can do it. You just gotta get extremely lucky and hit every play. So, well, if you're gonna file bankruptcy over 10K, that's not worth doing it. All right. So Qualcomm, I did have a request for the Google Nader. This one we're gonna have to turn on after hours because of what just happened. Looks like it ended up right here. Which is above support. Interesting. So it is in this gap right here. So it's going to fill this gap down tomorrow. So I expect it to start probably here. Fill this gap down. And then it should go back up. And that's going to be a 1, 2, 3. So I am bullish on Google. Either that or it's going to make a head and shoulders. So either it's going to go down, up, and then down, and then up, and then down. So there is a bearish scenario there. You have to be aware that there's a very real possibility that you have this head and shoulders here. But there's also the very real scenario that we have increased volume here. So you can see the volume has actually been increasing, not decreasing. Usually when you have a head and shoulders, volume is decreasing. So volume is actually increasing, which would make me think that this might be a bullish head and shoulders. So it's all going to depend on which way we break this gap fill. So do we break the gap fill up? Do we break the gap fill down? And that's going to be what matters. So, alright, I had a request for Square earlier. So Square is at heavy resistance here. You can see it's tested this zone many times, going back all the way through the beginning of the year. This is a very heavy zone to get through. And I don't expect it to get through it this time. I actually expect it to test it, and I expect it to go down into earnings, and then the earnings are going to be what determines it. So COF, Visa, PayPal, MasterCard have all sold off after hours. I imagine Square is down after hours as well. Yep, it's down about $1.50, so if you look at the extended, it did sell off after hours as well. So it's down about right here right now. So it might go green in the beginning to fill the gap and then reject. So not on my list of things to play right now, but one to always keep on watch. Mara was a beaut. Bounce there. So this is a 1, 2, 3, 4 right now. And so you got a 1, 2, 3, and now it's on wave 4. And I expect this to be a cup and handle basically. So what you're looking at here is a cup, and it's probably going to make the handle here and then break out north. So we're looking at here is this double top basically zone to break out. It's struggling with it right now. As long as we hold the support here, you got major support down in this area, so it's just got to stay between these two zones, and we should be good to go for a very nice move. And overall, this is going to be a wave 5 of a wave 3. Actually, This almost looks like it could be. It could be a wave 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or this could be. So we'll have to see. But I do like this to kind of chop here. You really got to look at Bitcoin if you want to know what it's going to do. And Bitcoin, it did have going up to 85,000, but that doesn't mean Bitcoin's not going to retest these breakouts here. So I do think if Bitcoin can hold 60K, we're good to go. Otherwise, it's possible Bitcoin could come all the way back down to 53 before it goes again. Alright. Apple and Bitcoin coming down would make sense for the wave 4 on... Alright, on Apple, you also have a megaphone. This is clearly a wave 4, so you have a megaphone wave 4. You can see we have our measured move down. You can see we have our wave 1 here. And then this is a megaphone wave 4. And then that would put us back at all-time highs. If we have a good earnings. Otherwise, you would have a truncated wave 5 and then the beginnings of a new downtrend. So really what you're going to be looking for is what's going to happen off of earnings. Thankfully, Microsoft gave us a little bit of an inkling. Microsoft had really good earnings and actually did really well, and I believe was up $5 after hours. So we'll have to look and see. We'll have to look and see what happens with that. So I like this possibility for earnings to potentially catapult us back to all-time highs if they have good earnings. I'm worried, and this is my big worry on all earnings, especially with people that have physical products. Like the physical product earners are going to have supply chain issues that show up. So Dapper, I don't talk about waves with you much, do I? I pull them out though because they're fun when you get impulse moves. But they are useful. So it is holding above 149. As long as it holds above 149, I am bullish. Otherwise, it could see a retest of 147. Bar repeaters? Sure. Let's see if we could find a... Alright, here you go. So a bar repeater looks very similar. These movements look very similar. So bar repeater is located on the left here, second from here. Click bar pattern. I'm going to do something for you here. I'm going to start here. And we'll go through here. So you just want to click your start to beginning of a move that you think is similar. And then you're going to drag it over here. I don't like that, but I do like, however, and then you can just kind of shape it to how you want. So for me, you're looking something like this. So this is what happened last earnings. And you just kind of keep morphing it into what you think is what it is. Until it makes sense. There you go. Look at that. Look at that. So in this case, you would have, this would be your wave 4, and this would be your wave 5, and then that would be that. So remember, nothing is ever going to be a 1-for-1 scenario. So it's one of those things where maybe we get another situation like that, and the price action is eerily similar in here. So we'll see into earnings. You know, you get that spike. You know, if we had the same earnings day, it would look like that then. So just gotta tug this out a little. There you go. So, alright, I need to mix up the music. This music's too cheerful. Alright, I did have a request for D-King, so we can do D-King next. Not going to chart any of the, undertweet any of these out, I just want to do the ones that I had planned, but DraftKings. Look at nice head and shoulders. I'm telling you, I have been bearish on DraftKings since September. And nothing's changed. Oh, that is terrible. Hold on. Oh, there we go. So, I would expect so you're probably going to see some chop down into earnings, and then I have DraftKings coming all the way back down into the 30s. It's probably one of my more unpopular opinions. So, unfortunately, I just don't love it right now, I guess. But I know a lot of people do, so I could be 100% wrong on this. This is more of, like I said, a controversial one. But this is more of a fundamentals mixed with price action mixed with they blackmail people kind of thing. So DraftKings is probably the shadiest company I know. So yeah. I did have a couple more requests to get through here. I did have PayPal as the last one, and then we'll start doing the live requests. Alright, again, this has earnings coming up. Did have a double bottom today. So we do have a nice support there. Now there is possibility it goes down more, but look at this volume. It's the most volume it's had. People did not like that Pinterest move. It really put a lot of sour taste into investors' eyes about the stewardship and the direction of the company. And so that's where you saw the massive sell from 272 down to 240 off of the acquisition of Pinterest. Yeah, Nikola SOS is up there. But in terms of like mainstream companies, like that get like people people excited, DraftKings is up there. So I don't see much going on and reason we should play PayPal other than if you're trying to catch a dead cat bounce. There's a good chance it's going to go retest 245 here. And over that, then we can start Legoing our way up. But it needs to break this huge downtrend that it's in. And it is by far in a downtrend channel, so clear downtrend channel. Don't expect anything to happen until earnings. Alright. Let's do some requests here. I'm gonna do a couple and then I want to look at some bangers for you guys. Alright. Let's see. Not doing skills, Cody. I'll do these like flash fire. I have skills charted, knees over $12. Cody. Cody needs over $30. Zev needs over $840. CNHI. Alright, this one's got my attention a little more. Looks like they got earnings coming up. You know, maybe you see good earnings, you know, kind of sells off into earnings and then moons into 1850. So ASTR, Astra, I've heard of S1. I mean, this is another one that just looks like garbage. I see no reason to play this until it gets back over $10. Pretty sure this is a SPAC. We have not talked about Prague. Prague struggled with the $4 today. I said on live today that $4 was the huge thing, and if it didn't get over, then that's where we're struggling. But right now, everyone that shorted is losing money. So if it holds $4 tomorrow, we're most likely going back to $8 and my price target of $15. So we could retest the $16 mark. This is heavily shorted in the 60% area. So still like this. Also like that we broke and held the resistance today. So resistance turns support. Tomorrow will be the key day for Prague. So tomorrow is when shares are due from all of the contracts for last week, and it's usually when you get your squeezes the most are on Wednesdays. So you guys have a lot of requests. We'll go a little later today. I usually go for an hour, but I didn't go Sunday, so maybe we'll do like an hour and a half today. I'll do requests for the next 15 minutes. But I owe you guys 1,000%er. And by golly gosh, I'm going to find 1,000%er tonight. Alright, so we did Apple. A lot of requests for that. BX was requested. Blackstone. I love Blackstone. One of my favorite longs. I've had this on my chart since $90. You can see I've had multiple alerts as this goes up. Just had a massive retest here. Double bottom. Pays its dividend this week, so you should see a run into dividend and then a sell-off here. If we get a bounce on 136 would be the where that we would want. So what you'd like to see is kind of a run into dividend, and then this is where we go long like that. Alright. GIS, General Mills, most likely going to have supply chain issues. Had a good earnings. It's been going up. Needs to retest this downtrend, get over that $64 mark. Over 64, General Mills can start going. This is a dinosaur stock, though. You're not going to get much movement out of it. So, Bungie, again, retail has a nice cup going. As long as this thing holds above, in my opinion, 84, I'm bullish on it. If I can get this dang thing to move. So you could see a handle form in the dividend. And again, maybe you see this kind of retest here and then sell off into dividend, and then that's when it moons. Retest the breakout. But not like all these retail stocks have mooned lately. Let's see financials on this. No, you know, financially wise, in terms of money making and profits, it's got room to go up. So, F it. I like this. All right, Boeing. There's all you need to know. Boeing's going to 160. I know people are. I've had this chart literally since October 12th, 2 weeks ago. So, no excuses. Head and shoulders, retest, measured move down is to 160. That also fills the gap down here. It's too perfect for me. At 160, I'm very interested in long in Boeing, though. Right now, there's no reason for me to long Boeing. Amazon, I'm starting to get caught up now to these requests. Amazon, I have charted. Boom. Blast zone's OP. Rode the blast zone down. Rode it up. As long as earnings are good this week, I expect us to retest all-time highs. Reject off of that. Kind of create a banana and a handle. And then by the end of the year, into mid-early next year, I would like to see 4,000. I expect a heavy Christmas run to end of the year. So Amazon is notorious for running from Black Friday through middle of January. This could be your 1,000%er too. If we get, the only thing that worries me about Amazon is I'm very worried again about supply chain. It's my number one thing that just, I'm super worried with all these stocks that rely heavily on material goods. So AbbVie has earnings come up, had terrible news back on September 1st. So I'd love to see how their earnings turn out, in my opinion. So love to see how those turn out. But I don't really have, I wouldn't really go long until it's over 112. Over 112, we could start to see this huge move shredded into. Oh wow, you guys have just tons of requests. I'm not going to get through all these. I'm only human after all. So, I know I've talked about Corsair on my Twitter, so let's worry about this. So, unfortunately, my blast zone prediction that I had here did not go as planned. It actually broke south, retested, broke south again, retested, broke south again. You do have Logitech earnings, I believe, tomorrow. So, if Logitech earnings are good, we need to break this downtrend. But the future for Corsair is super bright. They're expanding into new products. Their products are the best in the field. Gaming's not going anywhere. They're very undervalued. They're heavily shorted. They just need a catalyst to get the thing going, in my opinion. So we'll see what happens, though. In my opinion, it needs to get back over 25, 26. But for me right now, I'm going to stay away. I did sell for a nice loss on my longs that I went on it. But you live, you learn, you move on. You make it up other ways. Alright. Pen. Again, we need... So, there's really bad things that are going on for these international gaming stocks. And it's mainly to do with China, and it's mainly to do with Macau. So, in Macau, China, there's heavy regulation pressure to regulate casinos and casino profits. So if that happens and gambling's outlawed in China, that is going to devastate earnings for Penn and these huge gaming stocks. And so I am not longing Penn. In fact, you could call this a big bear flag, and it's possible we go back down to 64 off earnings. So, something I'm staying away from. Zoom finally broke the downtrend. Needs to get over this pivot of 290, and then we can start filling this gap. I do expect Zoom to fill this gap. Their earnings have been good enough to justify it, so I believe they need to make some acquisitions and expand with all the money they've raised over the last year. So if they can do that, the future is looking brighter, but I still think at the end of the day it might eventually come down to 180 before we break this huge downtrend. So we'll see. It just ran too hard, too fast. It flew too close to the sun and fizzled. So you're going to see a lot of chop, but it has not. It's got a huge downtrend going back 2 years. So, all right. I'm going to pick and choose some of these now. Fubo. I know people have been playing Fubo, so I'll do that one. Fubo has broken multiple downtrends now. Retested them. It has been struggling with my pivot here of 30-50. So it did bounce really nice on this pivot. All these lines I made, these pivots here, were made way back here. So you can see how stocks will reuse pivot zones even in the future, because those are lines in the sands, those are contention zones. And so you can see here this was old resistance. It did turn support here. It didn't here, but it did this time, so that's good. But it really needs to get over this pivot here of 29.50 and then 30.50. So 29.50 to 30.50 is going to be a huge zone. Over that, we can start to see a run back to 35. I am overall bullish on Fubo. There was a rumor today that Fubo could be a takeover target. I could totally see that from like a Roku, even a DraftKings. DraftKings would be a great takeover target for Fubo. Amazon. A lot of these stocks that are in streaming and TVs and sports betting, Fubo kind of dabbles in all of those. So the future of sports betting is to be able to click a button on your TV or on your phone that's connected to the game you're watching, and just in-game betting. It's going to be a thing. So, all right. Goggle. Oh, you wanted... Yeah, it's not Google. Goggle. I think I told you this looked terrible before, but if it held $9... oh, no, I didn't say it looked terrible. I said if it held $9, you're fine. And it looks like it's been struggling. So, you need this to hold $9, Zenon. Bros. What's up, brah? So Bro had a cup and handle here. Looked really good. It's flagging again. Very good possibility. It's been holding this uptrend this whole time. Looks like it's A, B, C, D, E. Looks like it could reject one more time. Do something like that. But Bros looks decent. Not doing workhorse, not doing BBIG. Did CLF to start. Give me something. What is FVE? 5-star senior living. No, that's a random ticker. That looks terrible. Not doing that one. Beyond, I'll do Beyond. Fake meat company. I've never liked this. I honestly think in the long run, this is a fad that people go through, and it won't stay. I understand the idea and the environmental impact and all of the things, but when it comes down to it, man, I just want a filet mignon. I don't want a pea protein steak or burger. So, huge, it is bear flagging here. Probably going to come down again to retest 88. It's gapping down faster and faster. Super bearish on it. Now, I will say, if Beyond gets that partnership with McDonald's, that would help it in the short term. But I also will say I don't expect it to last. So a lot of these things, I don't know if they're going to last. So in the long run, I do think it is. I do think it is a fad. All right, I'll do a couple more here, and then we're gonna start. We're gonna shift this into overtime, and overtime is where you guys are really gonna want to pay attention, because this is where I'm gonna pull out all the bangers that you need to see. So, yeah, should we just shift into overtime now and get those 1000% bangers going? I'm trying to help you guys out, but you guys are showing me garbage. I don't know why. So you guys are asking me what like show me something that looks good. You guys are just like you get obsessed with these meme stocks. Ooh. Not looking good for Baba. Looks like it made its move up. Well, this is a good hype song. Alright, we need to get a good mix for... I'm gonna go on my liked videos. That'll probably have some good music in it. Alright, here we go. Alright, so I had a list this weekend, my N2 list. These were ones that I was looking at that could be absolute bangers. IMAX was one that I thought would go. It looks now like people are going to wait for earnings to let this thing run. So I'm just going to look real quick through these. These are ones I charted over the weekend. I want to see how they're doing. You need to have AMAT on your list, by the way. This is one that you should have on your list too. PSTG. Excuse me. Well, that did not work out. That did the opposite of working out. That's no fun. This one worked out. Missed this one. It was such a banger. I had it and I didn't tell anyone. I hate that. The infinite rectangle, right, Rapper? You guys remember the Alamo? So, gold, by the way, made a historical, well, not historical, but made a huge thing recently. It retook 1,800 an ounce. Gold and silver coming back are bullish again. I tweeted it out last week that I'm bullish again for the first time in a year on silver. I'm finally bullish again on silver and gold. Inflation, you cannot be ignored. Hyperinflation is being talked about everywhere. What does that mean? It's silver and gold and commodity time. Silver, gold, oil, steel, anything that you need to pay money for that needs to be mined. Miners in particular. So if you like the old meme AG, this, by the way, is your banger. AG needs to be on your list. Look at this thing. February downtrend had that high, that huge short squeeze in February to 24. Finally broke it, retested, flagging into earnings. Put AG on your list. This is a silver. Gold, you're going to want GDX, GLD, GOLD, WPM. There's a whole bunch of them that you could do. So let me show you something on this too. I want to see, maybe pull up the short interest on this real quick to see if people reshorted it or not. Just give me 1 second. FCX is your copper. So AG isn't as shorted as it was before. 8% now. Still looks pretty good though, but yeah, this needs to be on your list. So if this thing can get back over 1350, see ya. This could be something that you could go long on right now. Gold. So just real quick, I'll run through these. You got GDX. This is your VanEck Gold Miners ETF. You can see it loves doing these downward channels and breaking out. So you got your ABC down now. So I'm believing we are starting on the way up. If you want the most solid, the most I think the SPDR has the lowest fees, and so the GLD has the best return to investment. So this capped out just shy of 200, but I do like GLD. If you want a miner, GOLD is actually the one that this is the one that Warren Buffett invested in. So this is, if you want to copy Warren Buffett, this was his choice, GOLD. He put a bunch of money in this. I believe he probably lost money on this. I think he did that. I gotta look back when he did it, but I know he put a couple billion into this. So, yeah, PAS is a silver miner. So Pan Am something. What is the PAAS? Yeah, Pan American Silver. Yeah. So you could just see these gold miners have these like these huge, just falling wedges, like year-long falling wedges. And so they're going to break out and they're going to go ham. But MSOS, weed. I don't know, like, I just feel like we've wanted weed to go for so long. And the government just refuses to legalize it. Like, I don't know why. Like, they just need to get it over with. WPM is that one stock that has exposure to everything. So they do all precious metals. That's why I really like Wheaton Precious Metals of all of them. The problem with Wheaton Precious Metals is it's not as popular. So the liquidity of it is the only thing that I have to say about it that I don't like. Is it's a little bit more illiquid for options, and this specifically leaps a little bit lower volume. But if you can get a good entry and you got good price targets, I could see this going back to 60, if not even more. This is This is something that's held this 35 mark for a very long time. Just retest it again. I would go long if this could get back over 42, 43 area. They do make money. They need to make more money though. Prices need to get up and need to hold. Uranium though is one that you need to pay attention to. So I saw this on FinTwit. So I charted it myself. I actually really like the idea of it. Package software company, Apion, just made a year-long downtrend break, retest, hold, and now it just needs to get over 100 and can go ham. Alright, Chris, give me a second. I'll look at your VSTO, and if it's not a banger, I'm not doing any of your other tickers. So you better make sure it's a banger. 1000% potential if you want me to look at it at this point in the night. So Apion has been increasing earnings everywhere. Problem is the revenue's been increasing, the earnings have been decreasing. So they're in expansion mode. The idea behind them is they help your business run more efficient, right? So they integrate software into your business to help you basically cut out the dead weight. So let's see what it does on the earnings. I believe they have been being encouraged to pivot a little bit and focused on more of their core business and expand that way. So they do have a good core business in terms of product, but they need to show a way to monetize it better. So now I actually have this measured out, and this was my measured wave 5, so I expect now to even see a 1 through 4, 5. Yeah, I think now we'll probably do a correction back down to 597. So, alright, I was going to look at your VSTO. Vista Outdoor. Alright, I can kind of see what you're looking at here. I'm going to run a scanner after this so I get done with this list here. The problem is we have earnings week, so it's hard to play anything without looking at you have to look at fundamentals at this time of year, because that's going to tell you whether they're going to moon or not on everyone knows about Upstart Flama Blanca, the white flame. I mean, it needs over 44 to moon, so alright. I don't know, I feel like it ran so hard. It did the full parabolic. I bet you Upstart does one of these now. I don't know, I could be completely wrong on this. I mean, the earnings have been exploding. It really is going to depend on how their next earnings are, I think. Alright, so I mean, it could easily do that too.
Right now, you're feeling a bit like Alice, tumbling down the rabbit hole.
Alright, let me get through my list here. So ENPH, I'm so mad at myself. I had this on my watch list this week. This is why I was like, dude, this thing's gonna be a banger this week. And look what it did. Hold on. Look what it did. Ah, man, I was gonna call this out. The reason I didn't put this, I didn't talk about it, because when I was looking at the options on it, they're very illiquid and they're very widespread, so I couldn't find a good debit spread to play on it. And because they had earnings, it was so expensive, it didn't fit into that wheelhouse of perfection I wanted to play. I was very bullish on it, but Like, I even had it on my newsletter list of bangers that could possibly go. So I'd like to see it retest 191 tomorrow and then bounce, and then we could get a nicer entry with not as much IV attached to it. Alright, click. Click is a semiconductor. They help make some of the machinery, I believe, for semiconductors. Yeah. So they use they help make the tools that make semiconductor stuff. So here's the thing and why AMAT, Click, all these companies that make the machines I'm so bullish on. So all these companies just announced huge expansion. Intel, 90 billion in Europe. It was like 30 billion in America. Taiwan Semiconductor, like all of these are building brand new factories, huge facilities, just massive. And they're not the only ones, but they're gonna buy their equipment from AMAT and from Click and all these companies. And so these are the why I'm bullish on AMAT, bullish on Click, and the ones that make the equipment, because they're gonna have huge paydays coming here in the future. And then all the maintenance contracts on top of it, like yeah, I like the producers themselves, but this is free money in my opinion because it's sustainable money. Stop it, Copper. But I like I heard Tesla's a good stock. Yeah, apparently, right? Alright, so if it can hold this area, you can see it's holding this area here. I'd like to see this get back over 56 and really get over 58, but Click, gotta put it on your list. Murphy Oil, oil in general has been crazy. I really like this because when I was looking at it, it had this downtrend and retest, but I think there's probably better ones out there. QFIN was one where I was just like, I was looking at some China stocks. That's why I have PDD. EXPI again needs to get over 55. Oxy, here is one. This might be the one actually. So I'm gonna show you something on Oxy. This might be our 1000%er. You have low cost options with flyability. I'm gonna call it flyability. So Oxy, the only reason it's not a $100 stock is they have an insane amount of debt that people didn't think they were going to be able to overcome because they thought oil prices were never going to be able to sustain the profitability that Oxy would need to pay off the debt. Lo and behold, we have a huge oil crisis, and now oil is $85 a barrel. Oxy in particular, I know a ton about, and I never talk about, but Oxy in particular, in order to pay off their debt, needs oil to stay over $60 a barrel. So $60 a barrel, they're profitable and make good money, and it's what, I think it's like $85 a barrel right now. Let me just go look real quick. Yeah, $84 a barrel for crude oil, $85 for Brent oil, which is British oil. So we had rapid flow on this today. I took this today because I looked at it, and you gotta see this. If we look down the 15-minute, you can clearly see a flag, ascending triangle, whatever you want to call it, above resistance. This is full melt-up mold, cup and handle, target price, measured move. $47. I think this could be our 1000%er. I called a lotto out today for our members, so I don't know if you guys got that, but I called the 38s out for this week, I believe, or the 37s. I bought them myself, so let me go. I think they were like 9 cents if we get just a run on oil this week. Right now, oil is down, so I do expect it to retest this breakout again around 34.80, 35. But Thursday, Friday could be just absolute bangers of a day. Let me see what I have for. I mean, even if you were to go, say, November 5th contracts. So let's go look this up. I'm going to pull up Oxy here. So I have 37 and 38 calls. The 37 calls for this week are 17 cents. So you only need it to get to about 38.50 for those to go 1,000%, which I think is totally possible. Oh, I'm digging this mix now. We finally got some banging tunes. Alright, so if we were to go like November 5th, we got earnings on the 4th, so I'm assuming they're going to be a little jacked up. So if we got a measured move all the way to 47, the November 19th are of 40 calls are 50. Let me see what the Jan calls are. Yeah, those are too expensive. So if you wanted to go next Friday, I'd probably go 30. If you wanted 1,000%er, you could buy the 39s and sell the 41s for 18 cents and get $2 in return. That would get you 1,000%. So you could buy the 39s, and as long as it gets the 41 next week off of earnings, that's where you're getting there. So let's look at the earnings, by the way. And I want to show you the fundamentals on this, because they are very important, specifically when it comes down to accidental petroleum. So you can see they used to have a ton of debt. They are paying it down to 61 billion, but they did have to sell off. They did have to split some of their assets off into a separate company, which is CRC. Actually, they used to own CRC. They had to sell CRC, which is California Resource Company, and so that's why their assets have gone down. But for them, CRC was a losing proposition. So getting a little better here, in my opinion. So need to show again better revenue. They should have great revenue because oil prices have been awesome this last quarter. So I'd be curious to see if they continue to pay off debt, what their plan is for the future. Yeah, because Chris, what happens is when oil starts to get high, all these companies want to just start producing a ton of it to take advantage of it, and then boom, oil prices fly down. In general, I like a good energy stock that has exposure to oil and natural gas. And so I know Occidental Petroleum does both, but they're primarily oil. But if we get big natural gas and oil explosions into the end of the year prices, Occidental Petroleum is set to take a huge advantage of it, as they're one of the biggest in the U.S. in terms of manufacturers and producers of it in the Midwest. So keep this on watch tomorrow, absolutely. If this hits, so the big thing you're going to want to look at is if we start off and we go down to 35 and we bounce off of 35 tomorrow, so it sells off to 35 and then bounces and gets back above 35.25, take the 37s. They'll probably be like 10 cents. Easy 1,000%er in my opinion. So easy 1,000%er, because you got your A, B, C, D, E. So this would be your E wave down, and then you got your moonshot off of that. So, alright. ARLP had their earnings earlier this week. Coal miner absolutely crushed it. I like coal. I charted this out, almost threw it on the newsletter, except for it had earnings Monday. Coal's another one of those that people say they're getting off of coal. The numbers say we're still producing and using a ton of coal. So I expect this to go to $14 to $16. X gonna give it to you. X gonna give it to you. So this is my newsletter pick of the week. Basically been following my chart almost perfectly. Did it a little faster, ran a little harder, which is fine. So it went down that. Got earnings Friday. I expect this by the end of Friday to hit $26, possibly even $27 by the end of the week. And in overall, this will hit 30 soon, in my opinion, probably in November. It's going to probably do this exact run. So we're going to do a bar repeater. Ah. That would put us at 34 with the bar repeater. RRC had earnings. RRC looked great. After hours, RRC is down $1, so it's right back to retesting this breakout. I'm assuming they missed a little, so we'll see. This was a newsletter play as well, so would love to see this retest. Yes, I covered GOGL. I said it needed to hold $9. Alright. I'm going to run a scan here real quick. Give me a second. We're losing some peeps. They're going to miss out on the biggest banger of them all. Ugh. So what I'm doing right now is an option screener that I made personally for myself. This is how I find some really interesting ones. Alright, ran it. Let's see what we got here. Triton International. What do they do? Finance, rental, leasing. Interesting. You want to see why this is interesting? Let me show you. There are some extremely bullish people buying options on this. And these are the kind of things that I like to pay attention to. But wait, there's more. So, let's pay attention to this. This is about to break all-time highs. I'd like to see this over... I mean, honestly, if it got back over 60, we should be bullish on this, but... Somebody thinks this is going to go crazy, and looking at the earnings, it's going to go crazy. If you look at this off of earnings, it went from 56 to 60. That was a perfect breakout of this cup. It's going to make the handle, going to go nuts. I don't know what they do exactly, but I do know that their earnings have been phenomenal annually, quarterly, Income has been great. Balance sheet is phenomenal. Cash flow is not as great as I'd like, but price to earnings 10. Put it at 100. Aider? Yeah. Yeah, it's probably dead. Sorry. Alright, let me throw another banger up here. Man, I keep seeing just crazy call flow on ACM. I've been talking about this one for the last month. While I've been talking about it, it's ran $10. And the reason I'm so bullish on it is, again, very similar to the last stock. Like, people know something because 99% calls for next year. And there's a ton of them. Like, when you see stuff like this, and you see the volume like that, the last time I saw something like this, the stock tripled in 3 months. And so, alright, thank you, Maddie. That makes a complete sense because shipping is so expensive right now. I love shipping, marine shipping and container and all that stuff. I'm very bullish on. So I need to add Triton to my shipping. I'm just going to add it to here so don't forget about it. TRTN. Alright, so ACM. I want to talk about this one. This is one of my top infrastructure stocks. So, what do, right? Well, they build, finance, and help with the operation of infrastructure assets for governments. What is going to be passed tomorrow? Potentially the infrastructure bill. That's why you see this crazy call flow on this, because if that gets passed, that basically sets the future of ACM and put it at 100. So, I mean, they already are making F tons of money. Just F tons of money. And they have been skyrocketing EPS. So, they're a $10 billion company with $3 billion in revenue a quarter. So, they have more revenue a year than their market cap. $13 billion a year. Market cap $10 billion. Add this to your long-term portfolio. I do think it's going to retest 67.50 here. It's extremely overbought recently. So I do think it retests 67.50 into earnings. And at 67.50, put your house on it. So, really like ACM. I've liked it for a while. I've just been struggling with the entry on it. And so I think 67.50, we can do two things. So we either enter on the breakout of all-time highs of 70, or we enter on the bounce of 67.50. Don't care which one. You could enter now and then average down if it goes down. Reality is, it's going to go nuts. So, yeah, cash. That's cash money right there. Dollar bills, y'all. So, put a camper on it. Well, that's your house, so put a camper on it. Alright, if you guys want to know what the list I'm looking at, this is the screener that I came up with here. So this is the list of unusual call flow. That's why it's so extreme here. So this is a screener I ran. So these are the ones I'm looking at. So Exelon, Nuclear Energy Company, Caesars, Gambling, Ambarella, if I'm recalling correctly, is a semiconductor, Aerocap. AER is another one that I wanted to look at here. So Aerocap is another financing lease one. I actually have, this is from last week that I was looking at it. Let me pull it up today and see what it looks like. It's a little bit more bullish now. So that's from last week because I think I talked about it on live. This is what it looks like now. So we can compare the two. You can see the OI for the 1015s or the 1119s has increased significantly. 1015s obviously fell off, but this volume went through and people held it. So that went up. This has also gone up for the 121, so people are bullish on this. I don't like this one as much. I do think the earnings have been good enough, but I do like EXC specifically because nuclear energy has been going crazy and it is the future. I think at this point we need to retest though, so I'm not going to say it's a banger right now. Open, however, I am very interested in. I remember telling people to go long at 17, so no excuses on this one. But that doesn't mean we can't still long it. So let me show you what this looks like. The OI on this is so insane that if you don't, you should throw at least 5% of your portfolio at it. So the big thing I'm looking at are these 2023 leaps. Like, what is this? Like, someone bought 174,000 contracts and 81% of those are calls. I'm going to pull this up on my I'm going to see which ones particularly they're buying. Let's see here. We do have a command top OI. I'm going to run that here quick. Show the top OI. Looks like it's the 23 calls in particular and the 15s. So you can see here. This is the results of the command. So how much do those cost? Those 30, those right there. So we will open Door Technologies, if you're not aware, is a real estate company, online real estate technology company. So I don't think the real estate market's going to die anytime soon. Those are $660 a piece. So they are saying it's going to go to 30 at least. If we look at the chart, yeah, 30, you know, if break even is 30 and you got 2 years to do it and it already was at it this year, I could see that happening. I also see a ton of interest in the 25 calls, not only for this Friday, but January 25th and November 19th. So, really like open. This could be a banger. I have a whole infrastructure watch list here. If you don't have it, I'll put it in the Discord. I'll put it in the announcements channel. So everyone can have it. Actually, I'll tweet it out. So I just threw it out my watch list on my Twitter. If you like it, go copy it directly into your trading view. It's free. Alright. I do have to get going here soon, so let's talk about uranium real quick. Oh man, that fractal is bussin'. So I made this fractal back in September, around September 20th. Still holding up just beautifully. I think uranium's going to have the MOAS, mother of all squeezes. Everyone's talking GME, things like that. Jay, I can set a lot of these. Yeah, absolutely, I can set these up for alerts. We ride, we fly, Dapper. I knew you were going to love this. Uranium. Yeah, it's squeezed. It hasn't even gotten started yet. It's going to go bonkers into the end of the year. You're going to see the mother of all catalysts on uranium going to happen. I've been talking about it since January because everyone wants clean energy, and nuclear energy is going to be universally declared clean energy. You're going to see all these nationalities start building brand new uranium plants and nuclear plants, and uranium prices are going to go through the roof, and nuclear energy is going to be the future. We're going to all grow third arms and have a good time. Short-term Oxy, long-term Quad U. So, again, like, I am nuclear. Why don't you pronounce it how you want to, and I'll pronounce it how I want to, Zenon. Yes, you can, Bulldog. I also have thousands into Quad U, so, and I am very long on it, and I have not sold a dime of it, and I'll be holding it for quite a while. So, get some 2023s, get some shares, and we'll go from there. Alright. Let me see. I got one more scan I want to run and see if anything weird pops up on it. I just ran my second option screener. Would you believe that steel is very prominent in it? STLD, NUE, MT, CLF. You know, a couple that are showing up here are interesting. I want to take a look at here. Whoa, what the? Perry, okay. That's too late to run that one. Okay, GE. Oh wow, okay. GE. This thing is the mother of all squares and rectangles. But wow, this just broke the downtrend and held the zone. This might be a nice long. I mean, GE is one of the companies that built America, and they have not been getting love for a very long time. So, interesting. Bulldog, you can just get shares of Quad U and feel super safe. So, if you want to get a little bit better return, have a little more risk, you can get leaps. But I mean, it's $9 a share. So, all right. Excuse me. I mean, I give the ideas, you pick the ones you like, the ones that make the most sense. I still think, like I said, when it comes down to it, I'm giving you all these ideas, but if I had to funnel your focus, steel. I think steel's going to be the winner the rest of the year. I put it into X leaps, or CLF leaps, or Nucor leaps. Probably X because they're the cheapest. US Steel is going to go to 40, probably 50. VSAT? Why? Like, oh wow, I actually have this charted and it's pretty much following my chart. Alright, there you go. Put it at 61. VSAT is 61. Yeah, Tom, steel over gold. Absolutely. Yeah, and I bet you're very happy, Zenon. Because you're printing on UEC. Uranium Energy Corp. Easy one to buy shares on. Steel because you have two... Steel's like the perfect storm. Literally the opportunity of a lifetime. My dad joke, like, steel is so riveting, like, it's an absolute steal right now. There's your double dad joke. You have two major catalysts. You have hyperinflation, and you have the infrastructure stock. So not only is America going to need as much steel as possible, but you're also going to have a huge price increase in steel. And so you're going to have just huge profits. Like, okay, so I'm going to talk about... Hold on. We need to get some serious here. Turn the music off so you guys can understand. So, I don't know if you guys know much about the steel companies, but there's arc furnaces versus blast furnaces, and for the longest time, Nucor and STLD and like CLF have been investing in arc furnaces, which can be turned on and off very easily and very efficiently, and that's why they have run harder than U.S. Steel. But U.S. Steel has the largest production possibility of all of them. Like, U.S. Steel can pretty much produce as much steel as all of them combined almost. The problem is they've never had to be max capacity, so U.S. Steel has had their price to earnings have never been able to keep up with that efficiency that, say, like arc type furnaces like Nucor has. And that's why if you look at these charts, you'll see Nucor has just been like going crazy, or if you go to like X, it's been a little bit more choppy. So the big thing though with X is they can run their older style furnaces with the infrastructure bill 24/7, and they don't need to worry about downtime because they're going to be running all the time. So their earnings are going to go so much crazier than, say, CLF or Nucor, that while they have the more efficient furnaces that melt steel, they don't have the capacity, say, like an X would, to just have these crazy earnings. So, like, you have a market cap on U.S. Steel of $6.5 billion, CLF is $12.8 billion, and Nucor is $31 billion. But yet, U.S. Steel can outproduce the other ones, and they have a tenth of the market cap. So if you were to say All right, so Nucor is actually, I apologize. Nucor is actually, in terms of tons, the top producer, and it is a $32 billion company. They've produced 22 million tons of steel. 32 billion x 6 billion, so 5 times the size. But in terms of steel tons produced, U.S. Steel produces 17 million tons. So almost exact same production, 1/5, 1/6 the size. So the upside on X U.S. Steel is so massive. Not going long on it, the risk reward on it is so great that you have to, in my opinion, buy 2023 Leaf shares, whatever you want to do. Like, you got to go long on U.S. Steel right now. It's my number one steel stock in terms of undervalued. So that's why I'm so bullish on steel, is because the opportunity is so great on it, in my opinion. Like when I'm talking 1,000% banger, like steel X in general, U.S. Steel, any steel stock in general is going to go crazy, but U.S. Steel in particular is so undervalued because investors have not loved the way they do their furnaces and not loved the returns in the past. But if you look at their earnings, they got crushed last year, but their earnings have been going absolutely bonkers. And they have earnings call this Friday. I expect them to crush it, raise guidance, announce buybacks or a dividend increase. They're going to announce really good stuff. And I expect it to go to 30 sooner than later. So, I got November 19th calls. I expect to roll those after earnings into leaps. So, I'll probably take profit, take some out of the money leaps, and just continually making money on steel over the next year. So, Bulldog, that is, if you could go with like the 30s, that would be better. I wouldn't fault you for taking the 40s, but I just think having exposure to steel in your portfolio is smart, but don't make it your entire portfolio, obviously. Because as bullish as I've been on things in the past, I'm super bullish on this, but that doesn't mean it always works out. So you can't full port it. I guess you could. I can't stop you, but having a well-balanced portfolio is a way to grow long-term wealth, right? So, been going for about 2 hours tonight. Really great class. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope you enjoyed finding some ideas to play this week and in general. So, if you guys want to continue the conversation, I'll be in the Discord and all that for a little bit longer. So, thank you guys. Have a great night, and let's make some money.